What's up? What's up, y'all? Back again with another one. Polo Sports Talking ENT. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not a member, and hit them notifications so that you're able to get all of my content. All right. Now, tonight, as you know, the stage is set for the 87th Heisman Trophy presentation, and it's fitting to go down. Okay, and the four finalists are going to be Pittsburgh quarterback Kenny Pickett, Michigan defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, Bama quarterback Bryce Young, and Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud. All right. Look, I'm gonna flat out and go ahead and say it. Even though I want a defensive player to get it this year, I feel like Bryce Young, he definitely has a case. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I've liked Bryce Young since the beginning, and although he won't, he'll be able to go in next year into the draft next year. I just felt like coming in, man. He's been so prominent for his age, but that's not to take anything away from Aiden Hutchinson at Michigan. You know, I'm in the defense. If anybody knows that, okay. Now there were some snubs that should have been in there, and let's talk about them. Right now, not taking anything away from them, but you know, Will Anderson for Alabama played phenomenal this year. And listen, as much as they want to talk about Alabama and the offense and things of that nature, right? It was their defense that really keyed in and locked in, much like Georgia was too. And I'm gonna talk about Georgia in just a second. The reason why Will Anderson Jr. should have been considered even for Aiden Hutchinson is the fact that he had 91 tackles, 31.5 for losses, and 15.5 sacks. I'm telling you, bro. Uh, okay, now listen. The only thing that you could kind of just slightly depict from the two is that, of course, Anderson and Hutchinson, they play slightly different positions. Uh, but in terms of the head-to-head comparison, dog, it ain't even a question that Junior should have been up in there when we talk about Anderson Jr. You know, but I think that what really hurt Anderson was the fact that he he didn't come on and strong until the latter half of the season or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Now, the first 6 games, he had 11 tackles for loss and three sacks. And when they lost to Texas A&M, it was a great shift. Now, the the 20.5 tackles for the loss and 12.5 sacks over the final 7 games, that was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And it goes with saying it's not how you start. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's how you finish. It's a marathon, not a sprint. All right. Uh, Another guy that I felt like and I can understand why he didn't really get that much consideration. Not everybody looks at Ole Miss like that, but they have to understand that Ole Miss is in the SEC. Was Matt Corral? You know, he had a 68.3 completion percentage. He had 20 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? And he also had 11 rushing touchdowns. Now, some people don't understand what the hype was about, but if you look at his completion percentage and as well as the touchdown to interception, that ratio, 157 PER, man, he's in the discussion and has to be, you know. But they opened the season outside of the top 25, and then he led them to 10 wins for the first time in program history. You know what I'm saying? And then they secured a bowl spot, or secured the bowl, like secured the bag or whatever. So those were a couple of snubs so far that I felt like should have been taken into consideration. Uh, and of course, Bryce Young and Stroud, of course, they did better than Corral, so it would make perfect sense. But some people are actually calling him a an NFL an NFL type of quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely see it. I watched a little bit of him with Ole Miss. I wasn't watching them as much as I was watching like Mississippi State. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he definitely should be considered too as well. Another guy is Jordan Davis for Georgia, and see, Jordan Davis, man, he was a personal favorite of mine too, because it was really about Georgia's defense more than anything. It wasn't their offense that nobody was concerned about. Now, from a statistical standpoint, he was at 28 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and 2.0 sacks. Okay, and of course, Will Anderson had more tackles for loss than Davis. But you know, when you talk about a nose tackle in a 3-4 defense, that's considered phenomenal. And if Georgia's defense had done to Alabama in the SEC championship what they did to every other team on the schedule, Davis would have at least made it to NYC. You know what I'm saying? He would have made it. He would be sitting there as one of the finalists. You know what I'm saying? His stats, they're not going to jump out at you, but considering the position that he played, and that's what the argument is about Aiden Hutchinson. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see where Georgia ends up after that. After the CFP, but since 2011, Alabama has a team that had allowed fewer than 10.9 points per game, or finished 2.0 uh, points per game ahead of the nation's second best scoring defense. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to look at. Another guy that a lot of people are kind of shaking up about was Desmond Ritter. I didn't really, Desmond Ritter, I can kind of understand, because Cincinnati did good, but his completion percentage was at 65.9, and he had 8 interceptions. Along with a 164.8 PER. Not quite there, you know what I'm saying? I don't really agree with that, but a lot of people felt like Jordan Ritter should have been up in there, considering how far Cincinnati had made it. And then there was Kenneth Walker, the running back for Michigan. Now, Kenneth Walker, this dude, man, he's gonna be phenomenal in the NFL. Okay. He's gonna be phenomenal in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Uh, he had 264 carries for 1,600 yards. It was 1,646 to be exact, and 18 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? This guy is gonna be an NFL. Hey, look, if everything goes good with his health and everything, you're looking at a Hall of Famer. You're looking at a Hall of Famer. Guarantee you. But them getting blown out by Ohio State, I think that's what That's what really hurt them. Even though, you know what I'm saying, he didn't really have, a whole lot to do with that. It's a team effort, but I think that's what hurt them. And then, of course, another personal uh, favorite of mine was Jameson Williams, the receiver out of Alabama, and he had 68 receptions. Then he also had 1,400 yards for 1,445 to be exact, 15 touchdowns, and then he also had two kick return touchdowns because he was on that special team. So he should have been in consideration too as well. Uh, do I think he's gonna succeed in the NFL? Possibly. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of receivers and running backs that come out of Alabama, they always they always succeed. And this year, I think, well, next year, when we talk about in terms of Bryce Young, I think that that'll be the first successful quarterback in in the league. Now we're looking at Mac Jones. Maybe he could change the whole argument there and change the stereotype or what's been going on in terms of over the years with Alabama quarterback. But I believe that Bryce Young is way more talented than Mac Jones ever will be. Uh, of course, a lot of people are talking about Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith, Nijiba. They should have been in consideration because they all did their part. Only one that was under 1,000 was Olave, and he just barely missed it. He was at 936. Garrett Wilson was over 1,000, and so was Jackson Smith. You know what I'm saying? And they are, they were in double-digit touchdowns. At least Olave and Wilson were in double-digit touchdowns. Jackson Smith was still in single-digit touchdowns. You know, so those are some guys that should have been considered. You know, um, like I said, I would like to see a defensive player get it. That's just maybe that's me being biased. But Bryce Young right now he leads the pack. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Bryce Young was able to bounce back and deal with adversity, that's phenomenal. Because it's not always about how successful you are and everything. Sometimes it's just how you bounce back from a loss when they lost. So y'all let me know what you think, man. Who do you think should be, you know, in the Heisman, as that winner tonight? And who do you think, missed the cut that should have been possibly been up in there? Want to hear from y'all? Let me know what y'all think, man. Like this video, share it, subscribe, and hit them notifications and tell them, man, it's Polo Sports Talking Entertainment, man. I'm gonna get at y'all later.